Have you ever looked back at a period of your life and wondered how you managed to make so many bad decisions in such a short amount of time? Because that's exactly how I feel whenever I think about 2016 and 2017. At that time, I thought I was building the future. I had money coming in, I had multiple projects running at the same time, I even had people working for me. From the outside, everything looked promising. But within a relatively short period of time, everything collapsed. Looking back now, I didn't fail because I was lazy. I didn't fail because there was no opportunity. I failed because I underestimated operations, overestimated people, and trusted the wrong friends. Welcome back to Phoebe Journey. I'm Phoebe, and this is episode 13. Today I want to tell you the story of how I lost almost everything while trying to become an entrepreneur before I even finished school. Back then, I was obsessed with finding ways to make money. I didn't want to rely on a single income source. If there was an opportunity, I wanted to try it. One of my first ventures was seasonal trading. The idea sounded simple. During Lunar New Year, people bought watches as gifts, so I sold watches. During summer, beauty products and accessories became popular, so I sold things like nose clips, glasses, and acne cream. I would spend hours looking for suppliers, mostly through Alibaba, Shopee, and Lazada. Then I would create advertisements, promote the products online, and sell them at a higher price. At first, it actually felt like I knew what I was doing. Orders started coming in. Customers were buying. Some days I would wake up, check my phone, and see new orders waiting for me. Every new sale felt exciting. Every successful customer made me believe I was getting closer to financial freedom. I even tried to build a good reputation. If customers weren't satisfied, I offered returns. If something arrived damaged, I replaced it. I genuinely believed that if I treated people fairly, the business would continue growing. Unfortunately, business doesn't care about good intentions. The biggest problem was inventory. Every season I became too optimistic. I assumed demand would continue. I ordered more stock than I should have. Then the season ended, trends changed, and customers moved on. Suddenly, I was surrounded by products nobody wanted anymore. Instead of making money, I was sitting on piles of inventory. My room looked more like a storage warehouse than a place to live. Some products I ended up using myself. Others I gave away to relatives and friends because selling them became almost impossible. The money wasn't disappearing all at once. It was slowly getting trapped inside unsold inventory, and I didn't fully understand how dangerous that was. At the same time, I was convinced that having multiple businesses would solve my problems, so I decided to start a clothing business with two friends. Looking back, that decision alone probably deserves its own warning label. We pooled our money together and launched a small online clothing shop through Facebook. At that time, I invested around 5 million Vietnamese dong. For a student, that wasn't a small amount of money. It represented months of effort and savings. But I believed we were building something together. More importantly, I believed friendship automatically meant trust. That assumption cost me dearly. While the clothing business was getting started, I was also working a telesales job that paid around 5 million dong per month. That salary became my financial safety net. Since I was juggling school, work, and multiple businesses, I couldn't personally supervise everything. To help manage the clothing shop, I hired someone and paid them 3 million dong per month. In my mind, I was acting like a real entrepreneur. I thought delegation was the next step toward growth. What I didn't realize was that delegation without oversight is just another way to lose control. As time passed, I started noticing problems. Tasks weren't getting completed. Sales information wasn't always clear. Communication became inconsistent. Since I was busy with work and school, I didn't immediately realize how serious the situation had become. Then the truth slowly started revealing itself. My business partners weren't contributing nearly as much as I expected. Worse, when sales did happen, not all the money was making its way back into the business. Customers that I personally brought in somehow became their customers. Revenue became difficult to track. Trust started disappearing. The most painful part wasn't losing money. It was realizing that the people I trusted most were part of the reason the business was failing. Eventually, the clothing business collapsed. And when it did, things became even uglier. The valuable inventory started disappearing. Beautiful dresses, higher value products, and items that could still be sold somehow found new homes. What remained was mostly low-value leftover stock. I was left staring at products that were difficult to sell and friendships that were impossible to repair. That was the moment I learned a lesson many entrepreneurs eventually learn. Friendship and business are not the same thing. If the story ended there, it would already be painful enough. Unfortunately, life wasn't finished teaching me lessons. Remember the telesales job that was helping support everything? The company started facing challenges of its own. Business conditions changed. Costs needed to be reduced. Layoffs began. And eventually I lost that job too. Just like that. The final source of stable
Hello,
income
how can I help
disappeared.
you today?
Suddenly, I found myself in a situation that seemed impossible only months earlier. My inventory business was struggling. My clothing startup had failed. My telesales income was gone. At the same time, final exams were approaching. Every direction I looked, there was pressure. Financial pressure. Academic pressure. Emotional pressure. For a while, it felt like everything I had worked on was collapsing simultaneously. Eventually, I accepted reality. I shut down the inventory business. I closed the clothing shop. I stopped chasing projects that were no longer working. After everything was finished, I found myself back at zero. No successful startup. No growing business empire. No impressive entrepreneurial success story. Just experience. Expensive experience. Today, when people talk about entrepreneurship, they often focus on motivation, hustle, and making money. Those things matter, but they aren't enough. What nobody tells you is that operations matter. Systems matter. Accountability matters. Choosing the right people matters. You can have capital, customers, and opportunities, but if your operations are weak and your partnerships are unhealthy, the entire business can collapse. If I could travel back in time and speak to my younger self, I wouldn't tell her to work harder. I was already working hard. I would tell her to build better systems, track everything, trust carefully, and never assume that someone will protect your business simply because they're your friend. That chapter of my life was painful, frustrating, and expensive, but it also gave me lessons that I still use today. And maybe that's the strange thing about failure. Sometimes the lessons become more valuable than the money you lose. Thank you for watching Phoebe Journey. If you've ever lost money in a business, trusted the wrong people, or learned a difficult lesson the hard way, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And trust me, episode 14 is going to be even more unbelievable than this one. I'll see you there.